Hello, I'm Elouan Jeannot. I'm a student in France. I'm in a computer science engineering school in France, and I'm doing the internship in the research lab of Berkeley. So this is my end study internship. The engineering school is the equivalent of a master degree, and it's my end study internship. So I will have my degree at the end of this internship, and I did it so in the Lawrence Berkeley National Lab, with a lab like just next to the University of Berkeley. And there I worked on AI models. So the objective was to visualize them and to optimize them. So why we wanted to do that? It's because now it's longer and longer to execute an AI model. It needs more and more power because like all the AIs are more and more complicated. They do more and more things like ChatGPT now or other ones. And so it's harder to understand the AIs. So that's the observation of my supervisor. And it's even more because like Python, so Python is simple, so it's really cool, it's user-friendly, it permits a lot of things, but it's really high level. And so it's really hard to see what is the background of the code, all the details of the AI model. And it's also the case with the libraries, like we use PyTorch and TensorFlow, I will explain later, but there are also sometimes that even not open source, so it's even also more complicated to see everything. So it's hard to understand them, and it's needs so more and more power to execute them. So this is the problems, and the main objective so was to improve the accessibility of the AIs by the visualization, to understand them more easily, and to also improve the speed of these AIs. So how I did that? I worked on most of the case on ResNet. So ResNet is an AI, a simple AI to like recognize some classic image like object or animals or thing like that. I work also on some AI benchmark and also on some specific AI like Arc or Cosmoflow, who are like AIs who are developed by the research lab. ICAR, it's for showing what will be the form of the water in the atmosphere, like if it will be like cloud or rain or snow or thing like that. And Cosmoflow, it's for astronomy, because there's a telescope who takes a lot of photo automatically, and the objective is to treat them, to sort them, like to keep the good image and to throw the bad ones. So I work more on ResNet 18, but this is to say that my work is general enough to work on like most of the AIs at the end. We focus on PyTorch and TensorFlow, who are the two main libraries for AI in Python. And we use MLIR, so because these two libraries are too high level to optimize them, so we use a low level tool, which is called MLIR. It means multi-level intermediate representation. It's a simple way to understand the code for a computer. Like there's no loop, there's no if, there's nothing, just simple instructions. But it's pretty complicated to read for a human. So I made some graph that I will show you, and I also like recompile it, and I ran it again I modify this MLIR to after compile it and run it again to see if there's some improvement. So an MLIR looks like that. So it's pretty big. There's like a lot of things, but it's pretty simple finally. There is, so for example, if we take this line, it's each line are pretty much the same. There's the name of the instruction, like the variable name. There's the library we use. Here it's Torch, so it's a PyTorch code. There's the operation that is made. Here it's a multiplication of matrix. The two metrics are the line 57 and the output of the line 58, because so this is the parameters. We are also, so the type of these parameters, here it's tensors. So tensors, it's like a matrix finally, it's just matrix. And we have the output type. So we have all that. This is all the how it's looked like how looks an MLIR like. And with that, I created a code like that who can visualize. So it's a parser. I made my own parser to parse this MLIR and create some graphs. So a graphs can look like that, but if we zoom a little bit, we can see the name of the operation, for the number of the operation, like the variable name, and the name of this operation. So it's just a constant. But if we take that, if we go there, we have the convolution. So convolution, it's a filter to apply to reveal different information for the model. And so this is the model of ResNet. So it will allow to recognize some image. We have also the different link to have like the dependencies of each operations. And so that will allow me and my supervisor to see what we can optimize in a model. Like if we take another one, so this is the iCar model. It's a little bit simpler, but we have also the different information. Like we recover the multiplication of two matrices, or like here the 49 and the 48. And here, so it's the model of my supervisor where we have all the details. We can have also some clusters that I like here. And the clusters are simply like a part of an AI who are repeated several times, because so AI have layers, and so we can have like all the different layers here. They are pretty much the same, and that will also allow us to see what we can optimize. Like if we see that there's a pattern who is repeated several times, we can like optimize like this pattern especially. But so for my work, this is the optimization, so the visualization part. But we focused on the quantization for the optimization. So we talk about the visualization, and the optimization is the quantization. So the quantization is pretty simple. The concept is pretty simple. It's to reduce the size of the inputs finally. So like in the diagram just after, just on the right, we have like the operation 2 and the operation 3, while like in 16 bits, but the general input is in 30 bits, and the objective is to reduce the size of this one. Like that, we will have like less data to treat, and if we have less data to treat, we'll have also a faster execution. But we need to be careful, because so the quantization, it can compromise the accuracy of the program. Like if we have less data to treat, sometimes it can be like a problem. And it also sometimes don't work with some specific operation, but I will explain that after. So this is the optimization. We work on that. We have like a proof of concept that it's working. And so to code this optimization, we made a Python code, also a Python library, to finally translate an MLIR like that to a version with the 16 bits. So we have a new operation with the operation D type who allow us to translate to change the size of another operation. And so here we have the code. We have also the configuration file to specify the file where we want to change the different part of the graph of the MLIR that we want to modify, and we can specify some parameters that we don't want to translate, that can be useful if you, in some precise case, do not change the accuracy. So if we execute this code, we can translate a part of the graph. So I did it before, and here, so we have the translation of the parameters number 83 for the this is all the translation of all the parameters. And after, if we go a little bit after, we can see like where is it that here? For example, if we take the operation 111, we have all the parameters were translated, and we have also to the inputs, the inputs and the output were like now in 16 bits. This is the size of the input, and here there's the for 32 bits. And so this is how the library is pretty simple. It do that, and we have also some rules, because sometimes we'll have some operations who will have several parameters, but not especially at all the parameters can sometimes not have the same type, the same size even. And so we have the system of rules like here, where we can specify for each operation what would be the general output of an operation. For example, if in a convolution like that, we have like several parameters. If the first parameter is in 32 bits and the second parameter is in 16 bits, we will not have the same output size. It can be like 32 bits or 16 bits. And if it's the first parameters 16 bits and the second one 32 bits, we'll not have. Sometimes we will have the same, but sometimes we will not have the same. So we had also like a system of rules that we did a lot of tests and things like that to see what will be the general input of output of an operation. So regarding the results, here I can't really execute the MLIR program, but we have some graph, because so now the next step of the work is to like recompile directly the MLIR, because we have a problem with the library that we use, which is called Torch MLIR. It permits to translate the PyTorch code to an MLIR, and after an MLIR to compile directly after the MLIR. And so the problem is that this library uses directly CPU, and 16-bit is not available on CPU. So we need to compile the MLIR directly on the GPU. And so if we do this type of tests, we can see that so on the GPU. So here this example is we convert an entire model, it's ResNet here, and to 16 bits. We compare the results between the two, the execution of the two on different batch size. So a batch prediction is used when we want to generate like predictions for a set of observations and all at once. So like that, we can benefit from the parallelization of good architectures. And when there's a good workload, so like when the batch size is more than 32, we can see an improvement. So for the 16-bit version of the ResNet model, here at the end it can be like an improvement of 30 to 40%. And so this is good, but it can be like even more if we specify the good operation to translate. Because like, for example, here we made like a simple program with several like convolution or several operations to like the same operation, but we executed them several times. And we compare the result also for this operation in 16-bit and 32 bits. So for some operation, like the convolution is working great. Like 32 bits is every time slower than 16 bits. And it can be really good to convert every time the convolution, but it's not the case for all the operations. Like for example, for Elouan, it's sometimes slower, sometimes faster. So it depends on the case. And so it can be like not really useful to convert this precise operation. So if we make the good choice and we translate the all the good operations that are with the library, we can imagine to have more than 30 to 40% improvement, and the like theoretical improvement that we can have is 50% because we divide by 2 the size of the input of the model. And so so this is what I did during this internship. It's for now at the state of the proof of concept. We have the library, etc. But we also again to do like tests and other things to have a real good results. The objective is to make the optimization like really simple. Like we don't have any change for the user. The user will not see any changes. Like for example, like in here, we will not change like directly the input size. We will change it after, like that. There's nothing to change. And so after, the objective is to like make the library like open source on GitHub, like that everybody can have access to it and everybody can use it, change it, and do what they want and be involved in the library. To translate the libraries to MLIR, we use 2 tools who are different. I have there. This is the slides from my school. There, we use 2 tools. So one is called like Torch MLIR. It's a tool on GitHub who is developed to translate PyTorch code to different Torch dialects. So Torch dialect is a version of an MLIR with different informations. And after, we can recompile like the MLIR to use to execute the model finally. And for TensorFlow, we use a tool which is called Bazel, who allow us to build and to test different software. And there's a tool there who is used to translate TensorFlow code to another version of TensorFlow, which is called TensorFlow Lite. And we can after translate this version of TensorFlow directly to MLIR. The next objective is to use CUDA to after recompile it on the GPU and to benefit like really from the optimization. So here's like, for example, the Volta tensor cores. So tensor cores are the NVIDIA cores on GPUs. It's the one who is used in the Berkeley lab, but it allows us to benefit more from the parallelization and things like that. So this is the next step to improve more and to have like more details about that.